I just tweeted out something that said, I think this is going to be the biggest bubble of all time, the .ai bubble. And I think, that's what you're alluding to, right? This is what happens when you get such a fundamental breakthrough in technology that everybody has to use it. It will lead to probably a huge bubble.
Raoul Pal, the veteran macro trader, definitely surprised many in the investment community with this statement. Now the big question is he right? Well, that's what we'll try to answer in this video, and we'll bring in some comments on AI from our favorite Peter Zeihan as well, so stay tuned for that. Folks, thanks for coming back to learn with us at Profit Protection. We know that a majority of voices online are praising the innovation that AI will bring, but hearing from another perspective is always a good idea, especially when they're as educated and as distinguished as Raoul Pal and Peter Zeihan. And stick around until the end of the video and we'll let you know what two specific companies are Raoul's safe bets for a bubble-proof AI tech investment. As of February 22nd, C3.ai, ticker AI, and SoundHound AI, ticker Sound, had added to their 2023 gains, each up about 120% this year. Despite the impressive performance of these thematic AI names, the industry is still relatively small, leaving many investors wondering how to invest. But before you rush to the market, no, those aren't the two companies that Raoul recommends that you invest in. We aren't going to give you the sauce that easily, but these are the two companies that in fact could very easily be an example of what will make up this bubble he speaks of. Raoul Pal, the CEO and founder of Real Vision Group, recently spoke to Yahoo Finance Uncut about the tremendous growth in artificial intelligence and the after effects of mass adoption. He believes that the number of applications for AI is set to explode, and we're not yet ready to deal with the implications of this exponential growth. We snagged a quote from the transcript of him explaining his more specific fears, and Raoul told Jared Bleicher,
he's going to make the decision. Do I hire another person to pay those wages, or do I just use technology instead? And I think every company in the world is going through that decision right now as we speak, which is another reason it becomes a bubble, because it's like the internet. Everybody's forced to use it from the get-go.
Pal argues that hand in hand with the growth story, AI will usher in a global deflationary shock, one of the largest that the world has ever seen. He believes that the shock could be bigger than China joining the World Trade Organization, which paved the way for China to become a manufacturing and trade juggernaut, ushering in an era of cheap imported goods for Americans. Experts forecast that AI will replace many workers while lowering the cost of goods and services for consumers. This change will have a significant impact on society, and the technology is still relatively young, with few investing opportunities at scale. Guardforce AI, GFAI, and BigBear.ai Holdings, BBAI, are pure play names attracting attention. However, even the largest among them, C3.ai, which we mentioned earlier, only has a market cap of $2.5 billion. As users adapt these new technologies, the companies that offer them at scale should benefit from network effects, a self-reinforcing phenomenon that exponentially increases their network activity. Semiconductors also fall into this category. Companies like NVIDIA, NVDA, are key to processing AI data, and they are likely to benefit as the technology becomes more widespread. However, there will be more high-profile AI failures, some funny and some scary, as the technology worms its way into our everyday lives and mission-critical systems. The deck is stacked in favor of exponential growth, but the industry is still young, and there will be challenges to overcome. These challenges could very well spell impending doom for emerging companies that are leaning on AI hype for investments. As great as it is, this bubble may be somewhat inevitable, and the answer to this lies in two different threats to AI companies. Recently, Peter Zeihan released a new Geopolitics with Zeihan video where he covered these two major hiccups for developing companies.
Obviously, these technologies continue moving, but there's two reasons to expect that we're going to have a lot more time to make this adaptation than I think a lot of people give it credit for. Number one is, as the baby boomers are retiring, which is happening right now, they are liquidating all of their investments and going into really boring stuff like T-bills and cash. That's not what funds IT startups. That's not even what funds the big IT companies in Silicon Valley. For that, you need venture capital. You need a high velocity of money. Retirees are no good for that. And the whole world is aging very rapidly, and baby boomers are not a phenomenon limited to the United States. So we're going to see the amount of capital just kind of seize up in the entire space. At the same time, most of the world is running out of the 20 and the 30-somethings that are necessary to do the research and develop these technologies in the first place. So overall, we should expect the pace of technological evolution in the world to slow quite a bit in the 2 decades, in the 2 decades to come compared to the 2 decades we've just completed. Second, we're not close to a general AI breakthrough. Let me explain what I mean by that. Artificial intelligence kind of falls into two general buckets. General AI is, Skynet, the idea that the machine can actually look at a situation, think, come up with a potential solution, and then act on it. We're nowhere close to that. I don't know anyone, even Elon Musk, who thinks we're going to be there before 2050. And this is before you consider that the amount of capital and workers that are available to develop these sort of things is in the process of drying up. So probably we're looking at 2060, 2070 or beyond. We're not even close. The other type of AI is applied AI or mission-specific AI. And it's not so much artificial intelligence in the way that we kind of have it in our heads, but it is machine learning, but it's really more like machine programming. So you put in dozens, hundreds, thousands of if-then statements into a program for it to execute. And as long as the conditions that are presented to the machine fall within the rubric of what you programmed, you're okay. But if you see something even a little out of context, the whole thing tends to fall apart. So, an example, let's say you're developing an AI driving program and you tell it what a stop sign looks like. Well, what if the stop sign has a bumper sticker on it, or graffiti, or if it's on the side of a building as part of an ad? Applied AI can't recognize those other conditions, and if you kind of widen your parameters to make it a rounding error, then it's going to make very real mistakes in the very real world that any 4-year-old couldn't. So if you need AI to do calculus, yes, they're light years ahead of what we as humans can do right now. If you need it to make a decision based on a judgment call, they are still completely and utterly.
Zeihan's 2 points here are that the capital previously flowing into emerging technologies from the large baby boomer generation is going to dry up as they move into retirement and transfer their wealth into more traditional stable assets. At the same time, many investors and management teams alike may be overestimating the time frame for AI becoming their money machine. We don't mean to spread too much doom and gloom though, because there are actually some prime opportunities for you as an investor to get in on this AI boom and come out the other end of any possible bubble unscathed. But before we get into the juicy bits, may I recommend something that you might be interested in? If you found yourself impressed by Zeihan's knowledge, you might want to hear his thoughts in our latest video about why he thinks the juggernaut of a company, Apple, is on a crash course for failure, and you can find it right here.
Okay, but this is super early stage. You can barely invest in this stuff. Yes, you want to own stuff like semiconductors and NVIDIA and all of that stuff. You need to process this stuff. But really, for the average person right now, the easiest two ways are Microsoft and Google, because we're really valuing them as advertising businesses. And they're about to be valued again as step change technology businesses. And again, they've got massive networks, and you're going to create a whole bunch more network activity amongst these two. So I think, if there's ever a reason for the major technology stocks to really have another leg higher, it's on this. And I think it's pervasive and long lasting. I mean, Microsoft is pivoting their entire business model to add this in, as is Google. And these are just some of the things that they have. I mean, don't forget, Google's got robotics, Google's got EV, Google's got self-driving, they've got quantum computing, all in their Google X labs, which we don't even know about. It's all behind the curtain. So as these technologies get to adoption, they can launch them. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, these guys should do really well. And then later we'll get other opportunities to invest.
As we promised, here is Raoul Pal covering two great companies that may be the answer to your AI-powered profits. Investors looking to invest in AI need not to chase illiquid small-cap stocks. According to our friend Raoul Pal, for the average person, the easiest two ways to invest in AI are Microsoft and Google. Both companies are pivoting entire departments to embrace AI. Microsoft may have an early mover advantage with ChatGPT, but behind the scenes, Google has been investing in other complementary technologies which should become major investment opportunities down the road. But as promising as these tech advancements are, they require funding to continue to progress. This is where the bubble becomes a threat to companies that are purely playing off AI hype. When you invest in a company like Microsoft or Google, you aren't investing in strictly AI, as much as you might want to. You're investing in tech giants that have their finger in every pie, including AI. This is advantageous in a couple of ways. One, they are simply strong bets for any investor. These are companies with solid streams of income from multiple sectors. They come strapped with cash and solid management at their head. This means that you can bet on Google's AI dreams and at the same time sleep safe knowing they're still bringing in $224 billion in advertising revenue per year. Two, they are perhaps the most likely to make major AI breakthroughs that garner more investment. As exciting as any startup is, they're raising capital and pumping their stock at all times in order to fund their research and development. Then take Microsoft on the other hand, which has bottomless coffers of R&D money to throw at AI ideas. These companies have what it takes to actually make serious progress with artificial intelligence. What's more, any sort of AI bubble created by this recent hype will not be able to topple them in the slightest because AI isn't the foundation of their offerings. So while the overexcited investors scramble to find the hottest AI stock entering the market, you can play this game like a true intelligent investor and make stock picks that make sense regardless of the market and still benefit from profits that these large companies will make off of AI. But let's end with a clip of someone hyper-relevant to this topic of AI-powered tech giants, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella.
Being with AI is going to completely change what people can expect from search. We're grounded in the fact that, Google dominates this space. I feel like a new race is starting with a complete new platform technology. I'm excited for the users to have choice finally and a real competitive race out there.
So it's definitely heating up, but which side will you choose? Exciting new AI startups or one of the big kids on the playground that just found the most profitable toy in the world? You can let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for tuning in to Profit Protection once again, and I will see you next time.